All right, NFL Week 5 recap. So, the first thing that I do want to discuss is go over the game from Sunday night, which was the Patriots and Bills. And I really want to credit the Patriots for going into Buffalo, which was undoubtedly a tough place to play, and going in and beating the big, bad, undefeated 4-0 Buffalo Bills. This was obviously a big game. It meant a lot to Stephon Diggs. It was his return trip to Buffalo. And I really want to again, credit New England for going into what is obviously a very, very difficult place to play and getting out with a 23-20 win. Now, one of the things that was most impressive to me was with how Drake May played last night and also with how Stephon Diggs played. And one thing that I think needs to be remembered pertaining to Stephon Diggs and ultimately the signing, because there were a lot of people that whenever they signed Stephon Diggs, it was, oh, this is going to be just a retirement tour. They completely overpaid for Stephon Diggs. And while I didn't think that he would go for 10 receptions for 146 yards, I thought it was a little disrespectful to say that, it was a bad signing for the Patriots. I thought it was a floor-raising signing, and this was a team that desperately needed receiving help. And if you would have told any Patriots fan last night back in May, because Diggs didn't sign right away because of the ACL, and it was actually a little bit before he signed within the free agency cycle of this year, that you'd go into week 5 into Buffalo, you're 2-2, you'd knock off the then undefeated 4-0 Buffalo Bills in their whiteout game or the game where they have the alternate jerseys. Any Patriots fan would have gladly taken that, and understandably so. So, again, really happy for Patriots fans, really happy for Stephon Diggs, and again, I thought they played great. Now, the one thing that I do want to discuss within this game is the one sequence where the player committed back-to-back penalties. That was awful. That was I have a friends group chat where we talk about if somebody says something like just, they're like 4 hours late to something, or if they say something just extremely reactionary. Somebody makes a good play. Hey, they're in the whatever conversation, whatever, right? We joke to say that coach wants to see you to bring your playbook, but to commit a roughing the passer on Josh Allen, and then it was just a stupid penalty on James Cook the following play. That was a bad sequence by the Patriots. But in this game, the Patriots multiple times were, they not that their backs were against the wall, but it was a 13-10 game. They can really set the tone. They had an 11-play, 90-yard drive. It was near 6 minutes. They go up 20-10, and I again could not be happier for New England with the way that this game played out. And I actually do have some notes here. Buffalo was also really sloppy with the penalties, and I mean really sloppy with the penalties. So that's definitely something to clean up. I also I did want to mention the guy that left the game last night with the Matt Milano jersey. That was awesome. That dude also has a souvenir for life. If you saw, you know what I'm talking about. So shout out to that guy. But I did want to credit the Patriots big time for showing up in Buffalo, and I did predict at the beginning of the season that, not that we're there right now, because there's still obviously a lot of games to be played, but I do want to pull up the Patriots schedule, because I did say that, hey, I think the Patriots are, I think there's a legit chance that they start out 6-2, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up their schedule here just to show you guys that I still think the 6-2 is very much applicable for this team. So let's go ahead and pull this up here. And with the Patriots 2025 schedule, let's go ahead. I should be right. Hold on. Should be right. There we are. And there we are. So the Patriots, next 3 games are at New Orleans, at Tennessee, versus the Browns. They could very easily start 6-2. So we'll see how that plays out, but good for the Patriots right now to be 3-2, hard-fought win. And I'm really, really happy with this team, the way they responded after a 5-turnover game against the Steelers back in week 3 to, go back-to-back wins. Carolina's obviously on a much different level than Buffalo, although credit to the Panthers for winning their week 5 game. But at New Orleans, at Tennessee, versus Cleveland, definitely winnable games for the Pats in the coming weeks. So big credit to New England for that one. Now let's go to the comments section here real quick. We have a super chat from Rich. He says, the Patriots went from being sorry to rebuilding for 1 year to already better than the Raiders. Shows how sorry we are. How did we beat them? Gino's had a up and down year, to say the least, through the first 5 weeks. Obviously, the Patriots game was awesome, and he played really well in that game, aside from the one bad interception that was kind of like a forced ball, though that's kind of been a theme for Geno this year is forced passes. But Geno in that game was the Geno Smith that I thought the Raiders were going to get throughout the entire season. Unfortunately, they haven't. But the Raiders, I really do worry about. I really do. I don't know what to say because it's not a good football team. Obviously, I mean, you lose 40-6 yesterday to Indy. Jonathan Taylor has a hat trick. He also had an octopus at one point in the game. An octopus, for anybody who does not know, is he scores a touchdown and then gets the 2-point conversion, therefore 8 points. Obviously, octopus, so that's 8 points. Credit to Jonathan Taylor for that, but I don't know about the Raiders, man. I really don't, because you have it's kind of like one huge, bright, shining star on the team in Max Crosby, and that's pretty much it at this. Well, and then Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, but I mean, Max Crosby is such a great, talented player. But I don't know, man. Didn't you say J.J. McCarthy was better than Drake May? No. Please find that for me. If you can find that for me, please tell me then. I would love for that, because no. I was if anything, this is funny how everything works, because apparently I said that J.J. McCarthy was better than Drake May. Although all of last year I was biased because I wanted the Vikings to trade up for Drake May. So it's funny how it comes full circle. That's hilarious how that comes full circle. Let's see. Triv, appreciate the super chat as always. Pats will only get better this year too. Go Pats. I mean, Victory Monday. Pats fans went through a tough couple of years, a very tough couple of years. That 2023 season, I think back to the really low moment was that 6-0 game against the Chargers. That was a brutal game. That was the game where it was like, hey, the Patriots, no matter what happens, they have to get a quarterback. That was the Bailey Zappi time. That was it was a rough time to be a Patriots fan. I think of the Patriots, one of the lowest lows is the like I said, that 6-0 game against the Chargers. That was also a game where Quentin Johnson had a couple of drops, although QJ has bounced back this year. But it was a low moment for QJ. It was a low moment even for Chargers fans in a win, and it was obviously a low moment for Patriots fans in a shutout home loss to the Chargers. But everything looks to be on the rise. All right, Avi says, can we say Drake May better than Caleb Williams? I'll put a poll up. I want to see what the chat says on this. I'm very, very curious to... I want to see, like, this is, by the way, not right now. Who would you rather have? We'll say 3 years. Next 3, you can do 3 years, 5 years. I don't care. 3 or 5 years, take your choice. I don't think it's going to matter, because I think if you would want one for 3, you'd also want one for 5. So either take your choosing here. This is just a poll here. Who would you rather have for the next 3 years? I'll let the chat decide. Also, please comment below. But Drake May or Caleb Williams. I know where I stand on this personally, but we'll see. We'll see where the chat stands. By the way, I'm not going to say my opinion. I wish if I had something to write it down, I would. That way I could show you regardless of the results, but we'll see what the chat says, what the chat votes. D. Janasi, appreciate the super chat as always. Somehow the Patriots have returned. They have. This was, whenever I talked about last year moving on from Gerard Mayo, this is what I meant, man. Move on from Gerard Mayo. There were so many just issues with the Patriots last year that you don't see now. Now, like I said, I did mention the one really bad sequence for the Patriots where they had the back-to-back penalties. That was 30 yards and penalties by the one specific player. That was awful. And that'll obviously get, fixed, but Diggs had 140 yards, and the Patriots don't win this game with Gerard Mayo as their head coach. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't win with him as their head coach. They don't win with Alex Van Pelt as the OC. And just the level of the floor level you have with Mike Vrabel as your head coach. Why did the Titans ever get rid of him? Yeah, I mean, Mike Vrabel's he's awesome. By the way, the chat right now is 89% or 90%. The poll is Drake May to Caleb Williams. That is also who I would choose, by the way, for the next couple of years. David, appreciate it. He says, Bills had warning signs in Dolphins and Saints game. Unfortunately, elimination from the Chiefs is seemingly more likely again. I think it's a little early for that discussion. We're in week 5. It's October 6th. It's also my dad's birthday, so shout out my dad. But we're three and a half months from the Chiefs playing the Bills when it matters. Now, the Chiefs do play the Bills coming up. I think that's actually within a month or so. But the Chiefs have also had their flaws too. And the Chiefs' run game is a problem in a bad way for them. Their leading rusher in week 4, now we are recording this before the Chiefs-Jags game in week 5, but the Chiefs' leading rusher in week 4 was Xavier Worthy, who had 38 rushing yards. And that was in a game where the Chiefs put up 37 points. So the Chiefs are not perfect by any means. The Bills they're still 4-1. It was their first game under 30 points all year. I think the Bills will be fine. All right. Let's see here. Mac Jones going to get a fat contract with some team next season. I agree with that. I mean, I don't know about how fat, but definitely I would be surprised if it's under, I would say under 15 or 20 million a year. And the reason that I say that number, look at the quarterback play across the league yesterday. Just all around. And especially for some of the guys getting paid. Now, I know your immediate thought is probably, oh, well, Tua and the Dolphins, because Tua's been a punching bag. The Dolphins have really been a punching bag throughout the first 5 parts of the first 5 weeks of the 25 season. But it's not just Tua. I mean, if you just go by all-around quarterback play, there's a lot of bad quarterback play around the NFL. The Raiders right now do not have good quarterback play, obviously. I mean, Geno has 6 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Has not been a nice start to the season for him. You look at just all the other teams. I mean, most of the teams that are below 500 are below 500 for a reason. The Bengals and Ravens are obviously an outlier. Oh, I got to blow my nose. Bear with me for 1 second. Just 1 second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I had to take care of that. But no, I mean, you look at the Bengals and Ravens; they're obviously outliers because of a Joe Burrow injury, and then Lamar is Lamar. I mean, you're not going to replace Lamar, obviously, nor should you. But the Jets, the Dolphins, the Titans are a bit of a different situation as well. Number 1 pick with a horrendous head coach, although the Titans won yesterday, miraculously. The Saints, the Panthers. The Giants have a rookie quarterback, a bit of a different situation. The Browns are, the Browns. I mean, they could definitely draft a quarterback. Mac Jones is definitely going to get a contract from somebody. I do agree with that. Nesquick says, not to take away from the Pats win. Appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat. But kind of felt like Buffalo slopped away the game. That was definitely a note that I had written down. So I would agree with you in that sense. I definitely would agree. I mean, I wrote down the penalties at one point. I think it was like 8 for maybe 65 yards in the first half for Buffalo. It's not going to get it done. Bear with me. Good Bear Mattress ad. Good call. Bear Mattress. Love Bear Mattress. They will be, again, a sponsor on the channel coming up soon. Shout out Bear Mattress. And I love Bear Mattress. All right. I'm taking Jags tonight. Spicy. Okay. All right. Happy birthday, Papa Football Analysis. Love that. I'll let him know you said that. All right, let's keep it going here. Saints W versus Pats next week. Rattler, 2 touchdowns, 250 yards. So Spencer Rattler yesterday, 0-10 in his first career 10 starts. I don't know why I said first career 10 starts, but 0-10 in his first 10 starts. Nobody forces Spencer Rattler to go 0-11. Nobody. So I don't think the Saints are going to win next week. I mean, the Saints yesterday, they won, but they were down 14-3, so credit for, coming back. It was the first game, and I think ever, where a team scored in the first 2 possessions. The Giants, they were up 14-3, and then turned the ball over in the next 5 possessions, including one was a defensive touchdown. I would argue that if the Saints forced 5 turnovers, they should have won by more than 12 points. I don't think the Saints are going to beat the Patriots next week. We'll see. We'll see, though. And the chat really 90% or 89% on Drake May over Caleb Williams. And then we have Philip. He says he's going to the Jags game tonight. Duval. Anyway, I do want to discuss Dolphins Panthers a little bit here. If you're Miami, I mean, guys, they have a lot of problems. They have a lot of problems because I kind of asked the question, truly as nice as I can, what do you do? And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to, make a joke about the Dolphins. Let's just get a low-quality joke in. I mean, your quarterback is not... I mean, Tua hasn't been the problem over the past couple of weeks. He really hasn't, and he didn't play bad in the Panthers game. I want to preface that. But, I mean, look at the quarterbacks now in your division. I mean, I'm not going to say Drake May's on the Josh Allen level, but Drake May is clearly ascending, and looks like he's going to be here for the long haul. I think everybody would agree with that. Josh Allen's obviously the reigning MVP of the NFL. He's Josh Allen. You have a GM who's in year 10 who has not built a good roster. You have a head coach who's very clearly frustrated, very much looks like he's on his way out the door. So what do you do? And you have a quarterback who is extremely, extremely limited. So what do you do? I mean, aside from start over and try and say like, hey, Chris Greer, thanks for everything. Mike McDaniel, thanks for everything. I don't know what the Dolphins do, man. I really don't. I know there's talks about Joe Brady, who is the Bills offensive coordinator, to coach the Dolphins. I think he has ties to South Florida, and then Mike McDaniel going to coach or be the OC of Buffalo. Not that that's like a behind the scenes type thing. It's just an idea that I heard that I like the concept of, but the Dolphins have a tough situation ahead of them, man. Triviality, appreciate the super chat again. I'm calling Mac Jones to the Jets. I could actually see that. That would be one of the landing spots for him that I think makes sense. Mac Jones, Garrett Wilson, solid offensive line, when healthy, of course, although the Jets had a really bad day yesterday against the Cowboys. And then you would have to imagine that they actually address the second receiver position. I think Mason Taylor will be a good tight end over the course of time. I could see that. He says, become the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. Speaking of gangrene, what the heck is up with Sanchez? So the Sanchez situation, very wild situation. I'm not going to talk too much on it because there's still a lot that it's just a wild situation. I'll leave it at that. Joseph says, and of course, hope the best for everybody within the situation. I'll just leave it at that. Joseph says, Bills should make a move for a receiver, such as A.J. Brown or DJ Moore. Defense is the problem, but the lack of separation is a bigger one when the run is taken away. So I do agree with that, Joseph, in the sense, with the premise of what you're saying, although A.J. Brown is not going to, he's not going to be traded. Like, I know A.J. Brown can get frustrated and tweet everything and do this and do that. A.J. Brown's not going to get traded. I want to see if I can pull up the main reason. Obviously, it comes down to money, but I'm going to see if I can actually break down the contract and then actually show why A.J. Brown's not going to get traded and then what this would mean for the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's see if we can do this here regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know how this part would work regarding the Eagles, I knew that they wouldn't be able to, is what I'm saying. But there's no chance that the Birds would trade A.J. Brown at this point. What I'm looking at right now on Over the Cap, it looks like if they trade A.J. Brown prior to June 1st of 2026, and I don't know how this works mid-season, whether this would work as a trade. Let me look here. Okay, so it basically looks like that the Eagles are going to have a $40 million cap hit for A.J. Brown if they were to trade him next year. And it also looks like if they trade him this year, that it would still be the cap hit is ridiculous for A.J. Brown. Bottom line, A.J. Brown's not getting traded. So we'll just leave it at that. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying, I do enjoy the 10:30 a.m. weekly recaps. So please like the stream if you're enjoying, and appreciate everyone being in here. I don't know if there's anybody that already watched the Week 5 recap and then is now tuning in for the Week 5 recap live. If you are, I appreciate it. But that's like I said, I appreciate you guys' support. Love you guys always. And I had a ticker here. Let's see. Do we have this? There we go. So we have the ticker that'll play throughout with, the YouTube, the Instagram, everything. KP says Eagles blow it up. We love you. Appreciate it. But that's I love Eagles fans over just every game, just with how they are with everything. That does very much crack me up with the way that Eagles fans go about everything. And let's keep it rolling here. There was one from Eclectic Divergent. I did see a comment. Appreciate you in the content. Thank you. Appreciate the support. What do I think about JSN, AJ Barner, and Seattle's pass catching group? Let's go ahead and let's go through here. So actually I have this up here with the Seahawks. Sam Darnold yesterday. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, they are a very good team. Obviously, they need to get healthy, and it was a big win for the Bucs on the road with Devin Witherspoon out. Obviously, that changed things. Now I know you can do the other side of the coin for Tampa with Bucky out, Mike Evans out, Jalen McMillan, and Cody Mock, and Kalijah Kancey, and everybody. But I think the Seahawks are a very, very good team. And my biggest thing with Seattle is I don't think that you can ever legitimately count the Seahawks out of a game. And anybody that wants to, get their jokes in about, or whatever, Sam Darnold's going to be a pumpkin or whatever, right? There's a lot of bad quarterback play around the NFL right now. I don't think Sam Darnold's the guy you want to get your jokes in about with how he's played to start the 2025 season. So I do want to actually pull up Darnold's numbers specifically. So in 2025, right now, Sam has 9 touchdowns to 3 picks. He has over 1,200 yards, completing passes at over 73%. I kind of realize that that's, just reading numbers off a screen, but he's also has a passer rating, which is the best of his career at over 114. And Sam is, he's playing at a really high level, like a really high level. 4 touchdowns yesterday, and if you put up 35 points and complete over 80% of your passes as a quarterback, you should win that game more often than not. So that game, definitely not on Darnold yesterday. I knew that he threw the interception. That was a very weird interception. It was off a guy's helmet and then fell right into Levante David's arms. But you can't sit here and legitimately say, hey, Darnold has to be better in that situation. So they'll be fine. Sam Darnold is proof of how organizations matter. I agree. And I made a video a couple of years ago about the ups and downs of Sam Darnold. And it was there was a couple of plays I highlighted within it. It was during his time in Carolina where there were just Tampa 2 hole shots he was hitting right down the middle of the field with the game on the line, and it was just like, if you can do this once, there's NFL coaches that think if you can do this once, I can coach them up and consistently do that. That's also why guys like Anthony Richardson go really high in the draft, because Anthony Richardson's highs, and this also ties into Sam Darnold, I promise, but Anthony Richardson's highs are, the single play highs, not games, obviously, because he doesn't do it over the course of a game, much less a season. But his single play highs are, they're amongst probably top 15 highest in NFL history. I'm talking single play highs. There's not many people that can do what Anthony Richardson can do, right? So if you have somebody like Sam Darnold that has shown a lot more flashes at USC and even during his time with the Jets or the Panthers, and of course last year with Minnesota, you're going to think that a guy can repeat that type of success over the course of a 17-game season. So Sam Darnold obviously would be a much safer gamble than Anthony Richardson even prior to last year's success. But anyway, let's keep it rolling here. By the way, and this is a good comment here from Catalyst, congrats to the Bucs though. Jason Light, masterful GM. Agree 100%. And that's one of the biggest winners and losers from Week 5 out tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. I couldn't be happier with the Bucs and everything they've been able to accomplish. Emeka Egbuka is, he is awesome. He was a prospect I loved coming out of Ohio State. And the thing is there's guys, like I'm a Penn State fan, so obviously I've watched Egbuka over the past couple of years, and I thought he was a player that could have went top 40 in 2023, thought he could have been a first rounder in 2024. And then this past year, I thought that he was obviously, a really solid prospect. I think I had him top 20 final big board, maybe top 25 at the worst. Regardless, just a solid first round receiver and a player that I've loved for, not loved, but really, really liked for a long time. And I couldn't be happier for him. And by the way, for anybody who cares, probably not a lot of people, but I'll get it out there. I did order my third ever non-Vikings jersey yesterday. It was an Emeka Egbuka throwback jersey. He's awesome, very fun to watch. So now the non-Vikings jerseys are Justin Herbert, Brian Thomas, and Emeka Egbuka. We'll see who the fourth is. But I love him, man. He's awesome. Please explain why the Pats love Ramondre Stevenson so much. So obviously I'm a big Mike Vrabel guy. I think that he's a floor-raising head coach. And let me go back to the Patriots here for a second. We'll pull this back up. I think if there's any criticism to have for Mike Vrabel, this kind of also goes back to the Derrick Henry criticism, or Derrick Henry, when he was the coach of the Titans, that Vrabel, for whatever reason at times, will stick with running backs that he probably shouldn't. And Travion Henderson was a top 40 pick for a reason. I would personally play him, especially with as many fumbling issues as Ramondre Stevenson has, because the Ramondre Stevenson fumbling issues was not a last night thing. This has been an ongoing thing for a long time, right? So if there's criticism to have for Vrabel, I think it's that at times he gets a little too, not sticky, but a little too like gung-ho with his guys type thing. So we'll see how that plays out, but I would like to see Travion Henderson play more. And for clarity, I don't think Travion Henderson, just because Derrick Henry had the career he had after Vrabel kind of didn't play him a lot, I don't think Travion Henderson's going to be the next Derrick Henry, but I don't see any reason that he couldn't be a 1,000-yard back in today's NFL. All right. Let's see here. Appreciate the super chat from David. He says, you thinking anyone's trading for Richardson? I would say no, because if you're Indy, right? This goes back to kind of like asset management. If you invested, we'll just say like an iPhone right here, right? Okay, if you have an iPhone and you spent whatever, $100, $1,000. I know the iPhones get expensive. I have like the iPhone from like 2019, but like the iPhone 10 or whatever. I got it pre-COVID. If you spent like a lot of money on an iPhone and somebody was like, hey, there's a crack in the screen, I'll give you $10 for it. You're not going to say like, oh, okay, guess what? I paid, and I know there's like phone plans and everything, so you gradually pay it off. Like retail, like iPhone prices are obviously a lot, but you're not going to say, oh, okay, cool. Here's an iPhone for $10. Take it off my hands. So the reason we bring that back to the Richardson situation is I don't think the Colts are going to say, hey, we have Anthony Richardson on the roster with Daniel Jones playing good. Let's just trade him for what would the cost even be? A 6th round pick? The almighty 6th and then 7th round swap? Is that what it would be? So I don't think he's going to get traded personally. But that's just me. Time to get a new phone, man. We'll get there. Probably after the season, to be honest. Dominique, appreciate the super chat. He says, you said in your recap that the Jets weren't competitive, which in my opinion means 0-17 territory. Why do you think in their 15-year playoff drought that this seems like the lowest point, and how do they rebound? So with the Jets, and I would like to do a video on the Jets at some point. Let me pull up their schedule real quick. The thing with the Jets and what frustrates me, and I know I'm just going to be honest, left hand up. I made a video beginning of the year. These are not the same old Jets. Thought it was going to be a lot different from a competitive standpoint. And that was the whole reason for titling the video, the Jets preview, that these are not the same old Jets. I thought they were going to be a lot more competitive, but they are a very sloppy team week in and week out. They're a very, very frustrating team to watch. And my biggest frustration with the Jets is it feels like once they are kind of just punched in the mouth, that it's just done. It's just like, hey, like, we can, it's kind of like if you ever like just, like with your friend messing around and then you actually, tag a couple of times. And then once they actually get hit, they're kind of just like, oh my gosh, did we actually just get hit? And then they're done. So with the Jets, you look at the schedule here, the Broncos next week in London. I would say that's a loss. I don't think you're going to be able to score many points on the Broncos defense unless it's garbage time. Panthers, definitely winnable. I would still probably choose the Panthers to win, just being honest. At Cincinnati with Jake Browning, winnable. I would still probably choose the Bengals. But, I mean, when you look at the schedule, right? I mean, maybe you get the Bills with their backups in Week 18 and maybe win that. How many games are we winning here? Maybe the Panthers, maybe the Bengals, maybe the Browns, maybe the Dolphins, maybe the Saints. I mean, these are all maybes. You're not circling any of these games confidently saying, hey, we're going to win this game. So, Dominique, to go back to answer your question with how do they rebound, I really hate to say this, just a couple of games into the Aaron Glenn era, but I have a lot of questions, man. I really do, because I don't know if the message is not stale, but I don't know if it's getting home. And what also frustrates me with the Jets, and this was always going to be an issue, by the way, and I think that Jets fans would acknowledge this. The Jets, like it's kind of like you have an A team and a B team with the Jets. You have your great players that everybody knows, your Quentin Williams, your Breece Halls, even I would say you can throw Armand Membu in there, Garrett Wilson. Sauce has had a down year, which is also very unfortunate. But for the A team that you have with the Jets, you also have, do I have the Jets graphic up? I don't think I do. I do not. But for the A team that you have with the Jets, you also have like a B team, and the B team is bad. Not, oh, okay, maybe we can hold. No, it's bad. It is bad. And for the Jets, one of the biggest things with Darren Muji, and what frustrates me at times with the Jets is, you have to take layups in front of you in the draft. And I was very critical of this team selecting Arian Smith in the 4th round. Thought it was a horrendous selection. I mean, I thought Arian Smith was priority undrafted free agent. And I'll just use this as one example to kind of hammer home what I'm saying with the Jets. I had Io Manor, the receiver for the Titans, who's had a great start to his NFL career in the first 5 games for a 4th-round pick. I had Io Manor as a top 40 player. I thought he slid way too far for the caliber of player he was. And then for the Jets to take somebody like Arian Smith over him. I mean, whenever there's a prospect that falls into your lap, not that Io Manor was a Jamar Chase generational receiver. Obviously he wasn't. But whenever you have a wide receiver 2 fall into your lap, that would be a perfect compliment to Garrett Wilson, by the way. It's frustrating. It from a process standpoint, it is extremely frustrating with the way things have went for the Jets. We have several member comments. I appreciate all the members being here. My guy Jonathan, my pet bearded dragon as well. Nice, appreciate you guys being in here. All right, let's see here. Have I gone over the Dolphins? It was just more of, what do you say? What do you know what I mean? You have Josh Allen, you have Drake May in your division, and you're out there with Tua. You have a clear Ferrari in the division in Josh Allen. I have no idea what type of car Drake May would be, but he looks to be, like, I don't know if it would be like a baby Lamborghini, but like he looks to be, like on the rise, if you will, or going from an Audi, I guess, like an Audi R8 to a Lamborghini. I don't know how the evolution would work in that, but you get the concept. And you're out there with, what are you out there with a grocery getting like mom type car with a van with Tua? What do you even do if you're the Dolphins other than hope? All right, let's see here. Guy talked about nothing but the losers in the Bucs Seahawks game. I thought it was pretty. What? I mean, all I did was talk about Emeka Ibuka and Sam Darnold and Baker and how good they played. I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, but anyway. All right. Technically, Aaron Glenn made the pick. Take the layups. I mean, that goes back to the Jets' problem of just take the layups. All right. Let's see here. Jamie, appreciate the super chat. Is it time for the Cardinals? Let's go ahead and get into the Cardinals. Is it time for the Cardinals to be sold to this Canadian Football League? Barely losing to the worst team in the NFL means they win the CA League. So with the Cardinals, there's actually a comment, 3 comments above this from Matt. He says, please fire Petzing. I can't take this anymore as a Cards fan. I'll say this, man. Cards fans, obviously in Arizona, you're not going to see Cards fans as loud as like you see, the Giants fans or the Jets fans, in the premier markets. But the Cardinals fans, whenever you see them comment, they are passionate. They know their stuff. Cardinals, great fan base. They deserve better. They really do. But for the Cardinals yesterday, I mean, look, I'm not a huge Jonathan Gannon. I'm definitely not a Drew Petzing fan. I'm souring on Jonathan Gannon as the weeks go by. And I understand the frustration with Drew Petzing, especially with the way that the end was handled. But when you look at what was required for the Titans just to beat the Cardinals yesterday, it took a touchdown that Amari DiMercardo should have had. Now, if you want to say to Jonathan Gannon, hey, you got to tell your players to hang on to the football as they go into the end zone, I mean, look, I'm not defending Jonathan Gannon. I'm not. But how much can you sit here and say, hey, this is 100% on Jonathan Gannon? And then, by the way, you force a turnover. And you have a Looney Tunes style play where the Titans get a touchdown out of it. This game should not have been close. Yet the Titans won. I mean, this game should have been that Amari DiMercardo touchdown should have been 28-6, right? That should have sealed the deal. The interception should have also sealed the deal. The Titans get a touchdown out of it. How much of that is specifically on Jonathan Gannon? Because his defense, I mean, the Titans put up 22 points, right? But the defense didn't allow a true 22 points. So I struggle to say that this is specifically on Jonathan Gannon, although the Cardinals, in the concept of, hey, do I ever think they're going to, with the season on the line, go to LA, go to SoFi and win the NFC West in week 18? No. Much less go to Ford Field to beat the Lions, much less go to the Link and beat the Eagles. I don't want to say, hey, the Cardinals are just done, just, see you never, and like, I don't know where you go with the Cardinals, because they're a solid team. They're definitely not a bad team. Anybody that says the Cardinals are a bad team, I'm sorry, but that's wrong. I really don't know what the answer is with the Cardinals. And it's probably easier just to say fire them and move on, but I don't know, man. In a like simulation where you don't have to deal with like the, you know, emotions, I guess, or the everything, it would be fire and move on. But the Cardinals are still a solid team. They're just not good. They're not great. I think Kyler's a liability. Very understandable. Watching from Switzerland. That's humbling, and I also saw somebody comment earlier that they were watching from Austria, so again, very humbling and very much appreciated. Gannon, I think, is actually a really good defensive mind, not an elite one. I mean, I think that's fair. I really do. Like, Jonathan Gannon, you don't luck into an NFL head coaching job. There has to be some proof of results. Now, there's definitely questionable hires, but I mean, you don't luck into winning multiple NFL games, right? There's a standard of preparation. There's a standard that you have to live by. And I think Gannon himself is fine. I mean, fine, not great, but I struggle with the Cardinal situation. I really do. Jeff Saturday is that's a great counterpoint. That's a very, very weird situation. Although that technically, I'll give that one to you guys. Credit you guys in the comments. That's a hell of a pull. But that's definitely that. If we're being honest, like 100% honest, the Jeff Saturday hire obviously should have never happened. But I mean, I get what you're saying. All right, thoughts on Mike McDaniel? Just go back to it real fast, and then I'm going to discuss the Eagles game real quick. I just go back to with the Dolphins. I've said it a couple of times, but you got to start over. You just trade what you can, get what you can, start over. And I have a lot of questions about Kenneth Grant and Jonas Savaiinaea at this point. I think it's Savaiinaea is the correct pronunciation, but I have a lot of questions right now with the Dolphins. I was a lot lower on Jonas Savaiinaea than I was other offensive linemen in this class. I had him, I want to say had him like late third. They took him mid two, and he's not looked good in the first 5 games, to put it very kindly. He has not looked good. I really do worry about him, but I don't know what the thought process here would be other than to say to start over. Bryce was saved by Dowdle. I mean, that's fair in some ways. That's definitely fair. But Bryce, look, Xavier Legette scored a touchdown. He run blocked well yesterday. Credit to Xavier Legette, because you want to see the little things go better. So I'm happy for that in that aspect. All right. Denver, Philly. I'm sure Birds fans have some thoughts on this game, specifically the no call on Dallas Goedert. But what I would say to that at the end is you gave up 18 unanswered points to the Broncos, who have not looked great offensively through the first 4 games. You know, heading into yesterday, they didn't look great offensively. And I would also say to Birds fans that, you know, if you don't want to be in that situation, score more than 17 points in the first place. And there's a lot of questions right now around the Eagles offense. I went back immediately the day after the Thursday night Cowboys-Eagles Week 1 game. And I went back, watched the tape, and this is something that I've been paying attention to for you know, several weeks now, because I didn't want to flame a guy 1 week in and just say, hey, you know, this is what I'm seeing, and then, you know, post a couple of clips and really embarrass a guy. I did not want to do that. You know, I always give, you know, multiple weeks before saying things. Now, if you get beat by 35 points in week 1 and you're supposed to compete this year, that's different. But for one specific player, I noticed A.J. Brown during the Cowboys game back in week 1 he coasted on a lot of plays. I mean, coasted on a lot of plays. And there was the play in this game that everybody was talking about. A.J. Brown stopped running. Jalen Hurts threw the ball, and it was overthrown. But if A.J. Brown kept running the entire time the way he should have, the way Jalen Hurts thought he was going to, the Eagles would have had a big play touchdown to A.J. Brown, and that would have effectively sealed the deal. The Eagles would have won the game, because it would have never came down to what it came down to. And the Birds would be 5-0, and winning cures everything, as we've discussed countless times on the channel. But again, A.J. Brown's not getting traded, but there's times where you watch on tape, and especially from the wide all-22 angle, where you can see he's not going 100% out of the routes. And it's very frustrating. And I don't know what the solution to that is. You know, does Nick Sirianni say, hey, AJ, you know, go, I don't want to say try harder, but what is the solution? If anybody has a solution, please let me know. because it's something that's occurred for, we're going on a third of a season now. So, again, that was not something I wanted to highlight specifically after week 1, but it's something that was really magnified yesterday, and one thing that I think is very fair to bring to light now. But we'll see. We'll see how everything plays out. But A.J. Brown's not going to get traded. He's not going to get traded because it hurts the Eagles financially. They're definitely not going to cut him over that. He's far too talented, so in some ways you kind of have to deal with the drama or the headache that is A.J. Brown at times. But the Birds are 4-1. I would argue that a loss like this is in some ways good for the Birds, just because you get that punch in the gut feeling, and you rally the troops. You play the Giants on Thursday night. You should beat the Giants pretty handily. All right. Daniel, appreciate the super chat. He says, with the talent level the Birds have, the baseline expectation should be complete dominance and a dynasty. The Eagles are a low-key embarrassment. Baseline expectation dynasty is, I don't think that's fair, although they've definitely underachieved. It's hard to say a team is an embarrassment when they're 4-1 because, look, say what they have been kind of the 2025 Chiefs. Last year, the Chiefs won ugly repeatedly, but were they an embarrassment? In the Super Bowl, I'm not asking about the Super Bowl. I'm not asking them when they were down 30 points in the Super Bowl. Were they an embarrassment before that? I would say no. You're still winning games. And look, I'll take it as a fan that's never seen a Super Bowl, never seen their team win a Super Bowl. Oh no, if my team won ugly and we won a Super Bowl, oh no, poor me. We won a Super Bowl, but we didn't dominate the way we should. Now, the Eagles last year were obviously at a different level as to where they're playing now, but I don't think it's fair to say that they're an embarrassment. Definitely underachieving, though. Definitely underachieving. I would 100% agree with that. But that is going to wrap up the Week 4 recap stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, like I said, please like the stream. Please subscribe if you're not already. Truly cannot thank you guys enough for the support. We're closing in on 215,000 subscribers, and hopefully you guys are having a great day, and if you're not, then hopefully this was a bit of a couple minute distraction away from whatever you're going through. And until next time, hope your day gets better if you're going through something. But until next time, as always, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.